Hey, thank you for coming out to part 2 of my 3-part series on tool sets you can use to help improve your meditation. And today we're going to talk about using listening to improve your meditation. And I always use this one. So we talked about the first one, which was the breath, and that was pretty neat because we went into some of the Chinese concepts of associated with 5-element theory and the Po, and how breath is the one thing that is very, very physical. And so it made sense that they thought focusing on meditation would help you become present. You know, we talked a little bit about why we wanted to do meditation because, you know, this is the one way that you can give yourself spiritual care for your emotional health. When you start working with acupuncture and classical Chinese medicine to change your destiny, one of the things that starts to happen is you stop projecting your story on everybody that you're talking to, and you start to hear their story. And, you know, then you start to become aware of just how chaotic our stories are and how much drama we create in the world. And when you start understanding and seeing somebody else's story instead of projecting whatever it is that you used to project, it can become a little bit overwhelming. And that's where things like meditation, yoga, counseling, you know, speaking with a friend, all those things really, really help, because when you stop projecting your story, you're making some really big changes in your life. And it can be a little bit unbalancing. And, you know, today it's really chaotic, right? It's super chaotic out there. So if you find that it's just too chaotic and you're trying to do any of these exercises and you cannot get your mind to quiet, I would strongly suggest grabbing my book off of Amazon, Caregiver Survival Guide. It goes through some exercises that I used from a Chinese medical perspective when I was a caregiver for my mother and helping with my sister. And the stress was just too much. I just was really overwhelmed, to the point where it was becoming really, really difficult for me to even think through problems anymore. Now, the exercise is about listening. And really, it's really, really simple. Just like the breathing exercise was really, really simple. And, you know, what I also found is, just like the breathing exercise, where that started to become second nature and I didn't have to think about it anymore, this listening exercise also became like second nature, and I didn't have to think about it anymore, and I could move on to the next step in my meditation. So with this listening exercise, another super simple thing is you're working with your breathing. Now, you're probably at the point where you don't have to count anymore, but if you're still counting, remember it's 4 seconds in and then 4 seconds out. And then you're focusing on your internal body, how that's moving. And then when you're doing that, start to hear what's going on around you. So the breath will help you become quiet. And as you start getting more quiet, start hearing the sounds around you. When I practice listening, what I find is that I start hearing all the details in the world. It might be just a car going by that I hear at first, because cars are so noisy. And then if I take my time and quiet down and listen to that car moving, I start to hear the birds. And if I get quieter, there's actually insects around. And as I get quieter, I start to realize there is a lot of noise around me. In fact, it's like a symphony of noise going on around me. And it's amazing how little of it we hear most of the time. Sometimes it's just about finding a different path. Thank you for coming out and watching my second part of a 3-part series on tools you can use to improve your meditation. And this one was on listening, and I always liked listening after doing the breath, because I always found that when I was really stressed out, I needed to decompress just a little bit before I could really listen well. So I hope you can find some help in these tools and that they help improve your meditation. Until next time, I'll catch you on the other side.